Hi guys, Michael here from UKCSGO. I'm here with Rory and Emperor from Bulldog. Rory is the coach, Emperor is a veteran UKCS player, and so far they're currently in the lower bracket semi-final at Epicland, having come top of their group and then falling in the upper bracket to
semi-final to Fish 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So how has your tournament been for you guys? First as a player's perspective and then as the coach?
We got a bit of a higher seed than we expected. I think we kind of worked out 5th or 6th, but got given 4th. Then the group's obviously format of 8 teams, so we weren't expecting that either, but 7-0 in groups. I think most of the games were comfortable, your typical group games where you take a bit of a...
Sure.
Take the piss, putting it politely, and then take the seeded games more seriously, but smooth sailing from there.
Cool. So, as the coach, the person having not much impact during the game, you're sitting back most of the time. How has it been for you, just watching the players, and how do you think their performances have gone so far?
Yeah, I think individually we've done pretty well as a team. The most important thing for us as well is just not being sloppy with what we're doing, especially when we're playing against noobs. Just giving them anything, they'll run with it. Obviously, no offense to any of the teams we played in groups, but like we're being 4th seed helped us out massively. If you look at our groups and some of the other teams, the seeded teams next to us were not really a comparison to what we were able to show to them. And obviously then the first round, because CX lost the head-to-head to Legion, we were able to get a pretty free, best of 3 in the first round. And just it's difficult. It's a lot different being online as a coach than it is being online, especially because you can't interfere as much, you're not able to say as much. I'm just sitting there noting down and basically waiting for games to start.
Cool. So you're currently in a bit of a break between games. So who do you expect to come up against next in the lower bracket?
I think they're on the 3rd map now. I kind of want to get a bit of revenge against CEX, because most of the guys played against them the last 2 lands, and they seem to send them home each time. So hopefully I'm the good luck charm. But either team I think we're pretty comfortable playing against, or at least going in confident, and definitely not going to rest on our laurels.
Similar opinion from you?
Yeah, I think so. Personally, for me, I'd like to play against CX just so we can. Obviously, because what I said earlier, we haven't had as tough of matchups as other teams, and this would be a good way to prove ourselves as a team. And especially since the map pool is very similar to CX and us, I think it'd be a good game. But obviously, against Demise as well, I feel comfortable that we could beat both of them.
Okay, fair enough. So just move away from the LAN for a bit. Just general, your online tournament progress so far. You're currently 9 for 3 at ECA Intermediate.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly strong position. How do you feel the season's gone so far, and how do you feel it's going to move on into playoffs, etc.?
In all honesty, Prac's been a bit stale recently, only because we've had multiple real-life circumstances. So the game's pretty much trial by error, unfortunately. But we'll probably see out this season with a comfortable finish, as long as we don't choke playoffs, which we've done the last 2 seasons, so hopefully not this time. But yeah, other than that, everything's as you expect. And fortunately with Rory now with us, we're trying to be more efficient with what we do, rather than being a standard UK team, get games, so forth. But yeah, it's going alright.
So your role's interesting. You used to cast a bit before, and now you moved to a coaching role. How much is the sort of overlap between those sorts of things?
It was easier sort of transition than I expected, because the majority of what I did online with sort of EUCS and UKCS, I'd always be that colour caster, and for me it's always been quite easy to try and pick up on the economy of the other team, try and read the other team, especially when you're sitting back and being able to watch all perspectives. It's different than playing the game as an IGL, and it's different as a caster, because obviously you can't see as much, but it's a new opportunity that I've really looked forward to, and being able to watch demos and actually get involved with teams and decent players as well has always been helpful.
So so I'll ask this question to you in a minute, but how do you think your performance as a coach has been so far?
Definitely. I mean, there's definitely room for improvement, especially since it's basically my first time doing this. There's more that I can do for the team, there's more I'm willing to do for the team. On LAN, it's been a lot harder to try and have the impact that I've wanted to, especially in groups when it was sort of I'm not really needed because we're playing against teams that we don't need to take tap forwards against. We don't need to have any sort of adaptation because we're beating them 67, 16-8. And the good thing also is that coming into this team as well, the players have enough experience where I don't have to babysit them and them doesn't have to babysit all of them. I won't mention his name because he'll get upset, but his name is Cypher. He's obviously quite young, and that has sort of been my main role, is to try and get him on track in this team, so I'm dedicating as much time to that as I can.
Cool. So, ask the question, how do you think your coach's performance has been so far with you and your team?
Get rid of him after LAN.
Heard it here first.
But no, it was something that we've wanted to do for a while, purely because I can sometimes assume too much in game, whereas with Rory, he gives a third-party perspective where it's coming from him, people may take it on board as not necessarily me just moaning at them. So it's actually quickened up the progress a little bit because people are less ignorant to what's going on and taking the criticism a lot better.
Of course. So, as I mentioned earlier, you're a veteran UKCS player. You've been in the scene for a while.
Yep.
You've got a lot of experience and talents and ideas you can bring to a team. How has it been with working with some of the younger players, as you've done previously in the past and also in this team now?
I think some teams in the past that I've had that have brought players through, they see it as a stepping stone, whereas even with this team, I get the vibe that they're happy playing with me. We'll see after LAN, but it's more of a respect thing, and I feel respected in this team, so I have more enjoyment out of it. Even when I'm playing bad, it's just better for me to play with these guys. But in terms of this group that I'm playing with, probably the highest skill ceiling individually that I've had since playing.
Fair enough. So now just move on to general UKCS sort of stuff. Yep. How do you think the scene's progressed in the past few years? Opinion of yourself?
It's better than it was in two kind of ways, but also it's been set back by a few things. Obviously, the no involvement with GFIN anymore held back some of the teams. The infrastructure's still not quite there, but I think teams are starting to clock onto the fact that they can't be entitled anymore. Like, they can't expect everything under the sun from the get-go. I think some of the players that are coming through now are starting to realise that, whereas, no disrespect to those that were more experienced, now that they've stepped away, the newer players are getting chances to shine.
Okay. And similar opinions from moving to casting and stuff? You've seen a lot of games, you've seen a lot of players. Is it similar sort of things to Emperor?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first came in, it was just, I think it was my first Epic I ever did. That's what got me involved with UKCS. And then it became Gfinity, all these organisations, and all these organisations sort of took a step back. And for a lot of players, they were just sat on the sidelines. But I agree with them completely about some of the older players that needed to take a step back, because it used to be just the term, I won't use the term, but actually the term that you want to use for that is it's ancestral, basically, where they just keep reusing players and keep reusing players. You can blame Michael Yumi for giving me that term in my head. He was talking about it the other day. And they kept reusing players, and now there's a bigger talent pool of younger players to bring through. There's not as many IGLs, not as many people dedicating to that, but I think that's changing over the course of time.
Cool. So is there anything else you guys want to add? Just to any sort of topic regarding UKCS or just esports in general? Anything you want to say?
Can you stop asking me for UKPM invites at LAN, please? I'm here to play games, not sort out the hub. And yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. Anything from yourself?
Just one thing. CX and Demise, you're going home.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you very much for watching, and this has been Rory and Emperor.